Every day our crew brings it. It's the off season, but they stay razor sharp like it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. You notice it says home sweet home ? Because there are a lot of important players that are with new teams. And so I'm going to ask you, home sweet home ? And you can choose from one of three answers. Good fit, perfect fit, or time will tell. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Give it to me.
We start with Philip Deneau, one of the biggest stars of the postseason this year, now with the LA Kings. Good fit, perfect fit, or time will tell?
I think he's a perfect fit for the Kings. And the reason is, first of all, he's not a number one center, but he's going to be a great number two. And he's going to be able to take a big load off of Anze Kopitar, who plays, now he's in his 30s. He's still playing 20-plus minutes a night. And now Philip can take defensive zone faceoffs, play against the other team's top center. It allows Kopitar to play in different positions or against different players, and he is a great offensive player. And he just sometimes he's had to play too much defense, so he doesn't get to show off his offensive skills. I think he'll be able to show them off this year.
Makes sense. There are a lot of Chicago Blackhawks fans that are already showing off their Seth Jones jerseys. He's that kind of player that generates that kind of excitement. Home sweet home for him.
You know what? I think it's a good fit. I mean, I think Seth Jones, if he goes back to the form he was in 3 and 4 years ago, I think it could be a great fit. But he hasn't had great years the last 2 years. And I do think he's a great player. But, I mean, he's got to get back to that. I think Chicago needs a great defenseman now that Duncan Keith is gone and they've had one for so many years. Then I think this is a good fit, and it'll make Chicago an awful lot better team if he plays to the way he can play.
Going from Jones to another defenseman who has gotten tremendous attention over the years. Well-traveled, right shot D, first-round pick years ago by the Boston Bruins, Dougie Hamilton. How about him? Home sweet home.
Well, to me, it's going to be time will tell. I mean, I don't think New Jersey's anywhere ready to challenge for a Stanley Cup or even a playoff position at this stage. And I know he's got a long contract, but if they can grow and he can stay as good offensively as he has been for the last few years, in 3 or 4 years, it could be a really good fit. But at the same time, he's not great defensively either, and Jersey's going to have to learn how to keep the puck out of the net before they start scoring more goals.
An issue for the Edmonton Oilers, also their defensive play. So that's an easy way to transition into a guy that doesn't play on the back end, but figures to provide some offensive help. He certainly did with Toronto. Zach Hyman with Edmonton, home sweet home.
I think it's a perfect fit right now. I mean, at the present time. I mean, I watched an awful lot of the Leaf games, and Zach Hyman did an awful lot of the digging the puck out, going to the front of the net for Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, and you can see him doing the same thing for Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl and whoever they put on the other side. This kid works his butt off. He's going to transition really easily into the top 6 forward that we know he's capable of being, and I think he's going to really help Edmonton be a better team.
Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Superman.
Oh.
You know who I'm talking about.
Well, the arm started to throw me a little way.
It's the way he would turn. Christopher Reeve in the original. Blake Coleman became Superman in the Stanley Cup final. Unforgettable goal, 0.3 of a second left. He's a Calgary Flame now. Home sweet home.
I think he's a good fit. I mean, it's going to be interesting because he had a different role. He's going to be a top 6 forward now. But let's not forget, when he was with New Jersey, he did score 20 goals twice. So, I mean, he's got that capability of being a top 6 forward. And now he's learned how to be a complete player. So, I mean, to me, it all depends on Blake and whether he can transition back to playing a different role than he did in Tampa, where he didn't have to be the great scorer. He just had to check. I think he's going to have to do both now.
Every time I see that play, I lose my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just extraordinary.
It was pretty good.
The final 10 seconds of that second period. How about Cam Atkinson? Former Blue Jacket, a Blue Jacket through his entire career until now. Sweet home.
I think it's a perfect fit. I've always loved Cam Atkinson, his work ethic and everything. And now we're getting into a Philadelphia team that has enough offensive passers. This guy's a pure scorer. He's going to work hard. He's got a real good penalty killer, and he gives a different kind of attitude than. And I think that attitude's really going to help the Flyers. I really like this player. I think Chuck did a great job with him.
I'm amazed by the level of research that you do, and I love it. This is one that blew me away, and the hockey world, too. Twitter almost broke that day. MarcAndre Fleury is now a Chicago Blackhawk. The Vezina winner, home sweet home.
You know what? I know I'm saying perfect fit a lot, but this is a perfect fit. Chicago has struggled ever since they lost Corey Crawford in net.
Understood.
And now they've got a bona fide great goaltender. And the one thing you know about MarcAndre is he plays with a chip on his shoulder. And if you disrespect him, he comes back with a vengeance like he did in Vegas this year winning the Vezina. I think the players in Chicago will play much better in knowing that they've got him back there, and I think he's going to really elevate this team by himself, let alone Seth Jones and the other complemented players that they have.
Flower is slightly built. You see him in his gear, and he looks massive. In real life, he's a really slim, athletic gentleman. The New York Rangers have made it a point to get a whole lot more physical this offseason. GM Chris Drury, they're physical players as a group, and I'm talking about Ryan Reeves and the rest. Home sweet home for them.
You know what? I got to say, it's time will tell. I mean, they had one really bad game last year, and they've gone out and gotten a lot bigger, but I mean, and tougher. And it's going to be great that their players are going to feel a lot more comfortable that they can do things that maybe they didn't do last year. But at the same time, other than Barclay Goodrow, who was a third-line player, these guys are all fourth-line guys and or seventh defensemen. So, I mean, I don't know how much real effect they'll have on the ice, but they will make the rest of the Rangers' skilled players feel a little more secure. But I mean, at what cost? Do they take ice time away from Panarin and stuff? I don't know. But it's a new coach who's going to have a different system, play a different style of play, I'm sure. So, I mean, they may come in and be perfect for him, but I don't think any of the players are game breakers that they got.
I love you like a brother, but I have to do this. Ryan Reeves, if you're watching, I think you're amazing. Perhaps the best player in the league. Have you seen what he can do?
Yeah. I mean, he's beat up a lot of players that I coached.
Smokes.
But I mean,
the last guy that tough at MSG, 1971, Ali Frazier.
But did Ryan Reeves play Game 7 in the playoffs?
It's a valid point.
So he didn't, and he was being sat out a little bit near the end of the year. So I mean, I don't know if it was injury based or just the way the game went, but and he does have a place on that team. I would play an awful lot bigger if he was my right winger.
Oh, my goodness.
But I just don't know if it's going to make them a better team overall.
Okay, OEL. Last one, Oliver Ekman-Larsson to the Vancouver Canucks, home sweet home.
I think he's going to be a good fit. You know, people argue that he hasn't been very good, and he hasn't been very good. I didn't think in the last 3 years. But it's pretty hard when your team is losing all the time. I don't think this is just my opinion, that he might have been the right guy for the captaincy. He played much better when he didn't have the C on his sweater. But I think this new breath of fresh air is going to be really good for him, because early on in his career, he was a really, really good defenseman, and that's why he made the big money. So, I mean, I think it's a good fit if he can come back and play to the form that he did, say, 3 or 4 years ago.
I remember interviewing John Shaika on this very program, and he called him a superstar. So he certainly has that in him.